In this video, you can see how Ukrainian FPV drones destroy enemy positions in once peaceful villages. The enemy continues their mission on the outskirts of cities, and Ukrainian FPV drones work directly on these positions. Interestingly, Ukrainian FPV drones can easily approach enemy positions, and the enemy will realize the impact that will occur. Here, Russian armored convoys attempted to overrun Ukrainian troop positions with tanks and armored vehicles. Their main task was to destroy enemy entrenchments so that the infantry could move in and take up positions. This is a classic situation in this war, something that happens every day. But thanks to the armed FPV drones, the Ukrainian fighters easily destroyed the Russian tanks. Called a tank killer in the Ukrainian war, thanks to his help, hundreds of Russian tanks were destroyed and continue to be destroyed to this day. Just 2 weeks ago, a Russian T-90M tank was hit by an FPV drone and left abandoned by its crew. And now, the 47th Brigade is releasing the full video of this incredible destruction. It's time to unveil the jaw-dropping footage. The Ukrainian forces were the first to send in their FPV drone, and boy, did it deliver. With pinpoint accuracy, the drone managed to strike the engine compartment, rendering the tank immobile. The Russian tank had no choice but to come to a screeching halt. But the Ukrainian forces weren't done yet. They unleashed a second drone, which targeted the upper part of the tank's tower, causing severe damage to its guidance optics. The Russian tank was now vulnerable and exposed. And here comes the grand finale. With the tank abandoned by its crew, a skilled Ukrainian drone operator took aim and made a direct hit between the turret and the hull. The impact ignited a blazing inferno, engulfing the T-90 tank in flames. It was a sight to behold. The most intense battles are currently taking place in the Kharkiv and Donetsk regions. The defense forces of Ukraine have successfully halted the advance of Russian troops on the Kharkiv axis. In this episode, Ukrainian defense forces inflict heavy losses on the attackers, using artillery, unmanned systems, and aviation to actively engage the enemy. The video begins with a Ukrainian drone capturing the moment 2 Russian tanks start moving towards Ukrainian positions. Without wasting a single second, the first FPV drone charges toward the first armored vehicle. And boom! A massive explosion rocks the scene as the tank careens into a ditch, concealed by the forest, rendering them unable to continue their advance. But the action doesn't stop there. The second Russian tank defiantly pushes forward, firing at Ukrainian dugouts as it moves. However, the Ukrainian operator would not give up, deploying a third FPV drone, swooping in for the final attack. With a precise strike, the tank is immobilized and engulfed in flames. The crew, realizing their defeat, hastily abandons the burning vehicle, and the tank is reduced to nothing more than a heap of smoldering metal. Captured in gripping drone footage, we witness the intense cat-and-mouse chase unfold in the abandoned buildings of the Kharkiv region. As the Russian troops enter the building, little do they know that a Ukrainian quadcopter drone is silently tracking their every move. With the help of advanced technology, the Ukrainian forces receive real-time coordinates of the Russian troops' exact location. It's a race against time as the Ukrainian operators plan their next move. The first FPV drone is deployed, soaring through the open windows of the building. With pinpoint accuracy, it detonates inside, causing a small fire. But the Russian troops remain hidden, refusing to back down. The Ukrainian forces sent in another FPV drone, determined to bring an end to this dangerous standoff. This time, the impact is catastrophic. The ammunition stored inside the building ignites, resulting in a massive explosion that obliterates the structure. The Russian troops are left with no choice but to abandon their hiding place. This extraordinary event took place in the Berestov village, located in the eastern part of the Kharkiv region. In the vicinity of Novomykhailivka, Ukrainian paratroopers successfully neutralized 8 armored vehicles belonging to the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian military, specifically the 79th Separate Amphibious Assault Brigade, reported that they effectively repelled the Russian assault. The Russians launched an attack with their equipment, only to have it completely captured by the Ukrainian forces. As a result, 2 tanks and 6 armored vehicles, along with enemy infantry, were left stranded on the battlefield without reaching Ukrainian positions. During the intense fighting near Novomy-Khailivka, the fighters of the 79th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade inflicted significant losses on the Russian troops. In this eye-opening video, we'll be analyzing drone footage that captures Russian troops attempting to advance on Ukrainian positions in the Donetsk region using motorcycles. The results are not what you might expect. We witness the first wave of Russian troops zooming towards the enemy on their bikes. But alas, disaster strikes. A couple of them lose control and tumble to the ground, leaving their comrades behind. And what do the remaining troops do? They simply ride on, leaving their fallen buddies in the dust. But the misfortune doesn't end there. As the Russian troops press forward, they find themselves engaged in a fiery exchange with the Ukrainian fighters. And guess what? More motorcycles hit the dirt. It seems these motorcycles just don't have the power they need to keep up. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The second Russian motorcycle manages to overtake the fallen troops and takes the lead. But before they can celebrate their victory, they fall right into a trap. The Ukrainian fighters, armed with small arms, unleash a devastating ambush at close range, obliterating the Russian positions. It's safe to say that the motorcycles didn't stand a chance against such a fierce attack. And what's even more intriguing is the aftermath. The second Russian motorcycle, having witnessed the destruction of their comrades, wisely decides not to continue the ill-fated advance. It's a smart move, considering the circumstances. So what can we learn from this captivating footage? Well, it's clear that Russian motorcycles proved to be ineffective in this particular conflict. Whether it was their lack of power, instability, or simply bad luck, these bikes just couldn't hold their ground. It's a valuable lesson in the ever-evolving world of military technology.